right, I'm back behind the barn again, primarily because it's just a stunning day and I want to be out here before it gets really hot and humid. The morning's beautiful right now. So, of all the dogs out, of course, they're wandering around. The barn has just been fed. Everybody has gotten their grain, or in the case of the pigs, their full food. The only thing everybody has water too, of course. The only thing they need is they need some hay, and they really don't get much of that. And that was one of the reasons I thought I'd come back here and just do a quick share. Or we can watch Tonka roll in stone dust. Fabulous. My guess would be something peed there, but who knows. At any rate, the donkeys have completely transitioned to no hay at all, right? They have plenty of pasture. Their pasture is seeded with specific grasses to support them. And they don't even come to the barn anymore. This time of the year, the only time they really come to the barn is to get attention. Sometimes they'll stay out. They usually get closer to the barn in the evening, but a lot of times they won't even go in their stall in the evening at this time of the year. You know, the temperature's perfect. It's not hot. It's not cold. They don't need to stand in front of the fans. And it just, you know, they're done. They know they don't need hay and they're not looking for it, which is kind of nice. So yeah, even though this morning everybody else was up at their stall screaming for food, the donkeys could care less. They're busy. They're out there. They're doing their thing. And, you know, they're way out there today. So listen, guys, hey, if you're new here, I'm Pam. This is Racing for Home Farm, where the animals rule the schedule, and I try and keep up. Nothing here is scripted. Nothing here is planned. We sort of get what we get. But for the most part, the animals are cute, and it makes up for it. We've had a couple of surprises recently, what with Bob's crisis and the bird netting, some frog sex. We've done all sorts of fun things. And that's literally what this channel is all about. And, you know, I came back here selfishly because there's a beautiful little breeze blowing. And I'm waiting for the adult goats to finish up their grain before I take the bulls away and head back to the house for a work day. So I'm taking a few moments, and I was like, well, let me just share with you the fact that the donkeys could care less about their hay. And then I was thinking, and you know, I actually want to get your opinion before I do this, right? I've done some talks in the past where I share, you know, just some experiences I have on the farm or running a farm, right, with people, you know, questions, phone calls, different kinds of situations. But I always feel a little uncomfortable doing that, right? It's not my intent to make fun of anybody. It is not my intent to make light of anything. But then at the same time, it's like, it's so interesting to me the type of calls and questions that I get, you know, and there's always the standard ones. Can I come visit? You know, when can I come see the baby goats? And, you know, I have to disappoint, unfortunately, because we're not an open farm. But I'm talking about, you know, other things. And I'll give you an example to set the stage, right? So I got a phone call yesterday, and this person was looking for ducks. Great. I sell ducks. I have learned over the years that I don't just hatch a bunch of ducks and hope they sell. I hatch on demand. If you want ducks, I set a clutch specific for you. Your babies hatch in 4 weeks and you get your babies, right? And I always set extra eggs. So sometimes I do have some extra birds hanging around, but I try not to have excess because I got burned one year. I had somebody actually order 50 ducks from me, and I didn't have them pay in advance. And I was just new. I didn't know any better. I trusted, and I hatched all these ducklings, and then they ghosted me, never showed up, never got in touch with me. Finally, And, you know, after me desperately trying to get a hold of them, because I had all these ducks and I didn't know what I was going to do with it, Farm Hubby was fit to be tied with me. And, you know, we're not going to just, you know, euthanize ducks because I hatched them and I don't have any place for them to go. But we were at Farm 1.0 at the time. I didn't have nearly the correct amount of room for that many ducks. I didn't have a clientele at that point because it was only a couple of years in. It was a bad situation, right? So I was desperately trying to get a hold of this person. I finally, you know, after using different phone numbers, I mean, it was like being a debt collector. I got a hold of them. And then they strung me along for another 2 months. Yeah, we're coming. You know, sorry, family emergency, mom's sick. Right? I'm making things up, but that's really, it was just one thing after another after another. And again, since I was so desperate, I had no idea what I was going to do with all these ducks. I was in so much trouble. You know, I bought it, right? And yeah, sure, we'll hold them one more week. And then suddenly I had 50 practically grown ducks and I didn't know what I was going to do. I did end up finding homes for all of them, with the exception, you know, maybe 10 stayed for the winter, but like a reasonable amount. But after that, I said, yeah, never again, right? Never, ever again will I hatch just to have baby birds around so people can come get baby birds whenever they feel like it, right? And yes, that hurts my clientele. It hurts my business because there are a lot of people who want the instant gratification and they will, you know, say thanks anyway, and they go to Tractor Supply and they get some other type of bird. And I've decided for my health and well-being that that's a better situation for me. But we're having fun and games now. That's a better situation for me than having a whole bunch of baby birds with no homes, having a whole bunch of animals to feed, water, and take care of that I don't have the space for. And ultimately, you know, kind of fire sailing them out, which doesn't get them the best homes. So that's how I roll at this point. If you want ducklings from me or you want ducks from me, whoosh, we're getting the zoomies out, which is helpful. You have to wait 4 weeks for them to hatch, and then you get your ducklings. And that's working much better for me. I hope it's working better for my clients. But I did get a phone call yesterday, and this person, you know, I explained what I do. I explained how it works. And they're like, well, we want a female duck. Okay, well, unfortunately, I don't do that. Our ducks, you know, the ducklings look exactly the same, male or female, when they're hatched, and I don't do invasive sexing. So, you know, it's sort of a 50-50 shot. And you need to take 2 ducklings, not just one. Well, I don't want a duckling. I want a female duck. Okay, well, I don't have one. You know, and I tried to sort of suss out what was going on. And I guess they lost a duck, you know, like, and wanted just a replacement. And they had a drake left and so needed a female, or wanted a female because they weren't getting any eggs. I get it. But I don't have one that I can give you. But a half hour later, I was still on the phone with this person, repeating myself sort of over and over again that I don't have one. Well, where can I get one? I don't know. Well, why don't you know? And this was not a child. This was not a young person. This was a grown adult. And I was, you know, I really do try to be as kind and as understanding as possible. I do not expect anybody to be knowledgeable to the extent that I am, because I've been doing this for so long. And I love to share my knowledge, as you know, because I'm here sharing it now, right? But this was such a fascinating call, and like just the sheer, it's not audacity. I don't know what to call it exactly, but the chutzpah to just expect that, like, well, you should go into your breeding flock and get me a duck. No, they're my breeding flock, and I kind of need them because that's how I make ducklings. Oh, did you wear yourself out finally? Meanwhile, Hugo and Sophie are just busy smelling the roses. So anyway, that was yesterday's adventure. It's amazing how much time I end up spending on the phone. I just knocked my microphone off, so hang tight a second here. I have no idea whether you heard me or not, or what that sounded like, because I managed to knock it off my chest, which is awesome. Don't leave it, Tonka, leave it. That's the magnet. So I think that's the look. There's my microphone. Hopefully it's still recording. I think that's the universe telling me to shut up and let you guys answer the question. Do you want to hear more tales of interesting things that I get asked over the years? Or is that just too rude, too people shaming? And that's not the intent. The intent is to just be cute and funny and share some stories, not necessarily to shame anybody or to make anybody feel bad. And that's my biggest concern, right? I don't know who's watching, and I don't want at any point to make anyone feel bad. My intent is to make you feel good when you hang up the phone with me, or when you get the email from me, or whatever, however we're communicating. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go finish up the barn and I have to get to work. So until next time, there's work to be done. Bye for now.